Okay, what we're going to talk about today is being in third grade and how we act in third grade and how some people bring that into their adult life. And so we're going to talk about growing up and how we're going to talk about people taking your candy. And so let's talk about that. So in third grade, when someone would say, I want his candy, or like you wanted that person's candy, you know, there's plenty of candy to go around. There are plenty of customers to go around. So I say to people all the time, if I end up and I see someone who's joined someone else's team, or I sold them a 3-day trial, but then they turned around and purchased from someone else, or they bought from me, but then, they joined with someone else. It is really easy to get caught up in that, for sure. And the human side of us, of course, we want to be like, are you kidding? They took my candy. They took my candy. That was my candy. But really, here's a couple things I have to say about that. If the customer went to the other person for whatever reason, and they didn't respect that, they were working with you, then you don't need that customer, because they'll treat people the same way. If they do join, they'll treat people the exact same way. And if they don't, when it happens to them, they won't know what to do. So, there's plenty of customers, plenty of candy to go around. Go find some new candy. Even if you have bitten off that candy and you want that candy back, let them have that candy, because that candy's probably going to turn around and do the same thing to somebody else. So, you can kind of combat that in the beginning when you first start working with someone. Always, and I've always preached this, always overcome objections before you get them. So in that sense, you could always say to the customer, I know I'm selling you a 3-day trial. After, 2 to 3 days, I'm going to contact you and see what you think. And, I just want to make sure that you're not working with anyone else, because I'm really respectful that if you were already working with someone, I would not even be selling you this. So, that way you've kind of planted the seed. And so you kind of overcome that before you might get that. Might keep them from doing something crazy. And as an ambassador, that's the first thing you need to say to people. They say, oh yeah, I love Plexus. I bought from so-and-so a couple months ago. I need to get back on it. You need to send them back to where they came from. It is not worth it. One person will not make your business, nor will they break your business. And if you have that mentality, you will not go far in the business. You are desperate. You're working in a desperation mode. You're working out of a hungry sales convincing mode, and you will not make it in this business. I promise you, if that's your mentality, it won't last long. For sure. Always find out all the sides to the story if it's very complicated. Sometimes people seek out people. The higher up you go, sometimes people will send out a message to 4 or 5 people at one time just to see who bites, and they're kind of interviewing who they want to sign up with. And so you have to be very careful, because you have to always say first thing, I got your message. Are you working with, how'd you find out about me? How'd you find out about Plexus? Are you already working with someone? And they, hopefully, let's say they are honest and they say, I've sent messages to 4 or 5 leaders, waiting to see who responded. Then you need to say, who have you talked to already? Did you let them know that you were basically interviewing for who you wanted to join with? And if they say, yes, I did that, then that's good, because then when they decide who they want to join with, you need to be sure that you say to them, I want you to let the people know that you've already talked to who you've decided to sign with, if it's with me. And then you follow up and make sure that they did that. And you let them know, I'm going to talk to so-and-so, as well, to let them know that, I know that they've talked to a lot of people. So as long as you've done your part and you can sleep at night, then you're good to go. That's all I have to say about that. People can decide who they want to join with. Obviously, if I were going to join another network marketing company, I can promise you, I would be selective of who I joined with. However, I do know that if I want to be successful, it's up to me. It really doesn't matter who my upline is. If I want to do this, I'll do it. And that's the mentality you must have. However, if you can choose who you want to join with, obviously you research and do your homework. But your sponsor, I hear people say to me, I get messages all the time. My sponsor's no help, blah, 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 blah. I don't take sides with that. I don't play into that game. That is a third grade game. Blaming is easy. I think, we were kind of born to blame. So third grade, we did a lot of blaming. Most people still blame in their adult life. So I don't buy into that at all. It's my biggest pet peeve is when people blame their downline, their upline, their cross line. You know what? Just go do it. She called me names. Did we not say that a lot in third grade? She called me a name. He called me a name. He said I was this. He said I was that. That's just, some people love a crisis. And, I know there's always going to be people that love me, hate me, dislike me, like me. It doesn't matter. As long as I can put my head down at night and, I do the best I can. Sometimes I get behind on messages and, somebody will say, it's been 2 weeks. You didn't Facebook me back. I'm like, I'm sorry. I only get lots and lots of messages. So sometimes I just have to catch up. But people love to make you feel bad. People love to make you feel guilty. People are jealous. People, if they're in misery, they like for you to join in on the game. So sometimes people will call you names and say things about you. And, you just have to confront them and say, I'm sorry. Someone said you were unhappy with me. Is there anything that I did to make you unhappy with me, anything that I could resolve? And typically they won't respond to you because they can't face you because they're chicken, and you just move on. You just have to learn to not get involved in games. It's just crazy. It's such a draining of your energy. Let's see, what's another one? I want to be first. I want to be the leader. She got to be first in line. I want to be first in line. Well, that's an ego issue. And you got to get your ego out of the way if you're ever going to move up. That's a biggie. You want people on your team who are better than you. You want people on your team to pass you up. That's what you want. And that's a compliment to you. And it's really stupid to try to hold your own people down and hold your own people back. And I hear of that a lot. I get messages all the time from people who say, I have a level 1 or a level 2 who does not want their team to have anything to do with me because they want them to just look at them as the leader. And that is a big, big mistake, in my opinion, because I believe that that person can benefit from two separate personalities of a leader. Unless there's a moral issue with the person, but typically it's just an ego issue with that level, that in-between person. They don't want their people to be connected with anybody but them. They want to be the head honcho. Well, it takes a lot of people to raise children, so you want lots of upline to support your team. So you're just really shooting your own foot off if you don't want your team to look to your upline as a leader. If your upline is coming into town and you don't promote that, you are doing something that is just not smart. And you then are also duplicating. And when your people start going around you and coming above you to ask questions that they're not getting answered or things like that, then, you're just really hurting yourself. So I hope that you will never do anything like that. just, any drama that's on Facebook, any drama that's that people come to you with, just be honest with people. Sometimes people say, I don't know what to say when someone says this to me because, I don't want to hurt their feelings, but, I just don't feel like, they, whatever. Just say that to them. Say to them, I feel like this is very awkward for me. This is not comfortable for me to say this, but I feel like it needs to be said. Be honest with people. That's what they really want to hear, but they don't always know they want to hear that. Sometimes they want the fluff, and then they hang up the phone with you, and they're no further than they were when they called you. They need the truth. So don't be afraid to give people the truth. And also I want to say that a lot of people will come to you over and over with the same issue, or they're always coming to you maybe even with a new issue. But they're the people who always, and maybe they're telling you all this drama. Some people enjoy a crisis. Some people feel like their life is not complete unless they are involved in drama and issues. And a lot of that can come from Facebook groups. And, I try to keep myself out of most groups because I don't have time for that. Is misery. So just know that some people love a crisis. They have always loved one. They're always going to love one. And no matter what you say or do or try to help, it's not going to do any good. Especially when you hang up the phone and then you notice they're always arguing with people, especially in the groups. They're always doing comments back and forth. I know that sometimes I post something really simple that's just kind of maybe a frustration, and I'll notice I have 30 comments on it, and it starts to get real. People in the comments start to go back and forth. I just delete the whole post. And sometimes you just have to delete the post. Just delete the post and move on. So Facebook is great, but things are a little bit easier sometimes face-to-face. So hope this helps with a little bit of growing up and drama. And just know that life is full of drama, and it's you choose if you want to participate and waste days and months on it, or if you just want to blow it off and delete and move on. So hope you learned something. Have a good day.